Hi everybody, it's Geordie from Geordie's Cards here for Pour Some Stamps today, and I am bringing you this cute little scene using the Cup of Tea stamp set. Absolutely adore this stamp set. So I have gone ahead and coloured and cut out all of my images. I have used every single image from the stamp set today. They're all just so cute and I couldn't resist using them. And I have coloured them using a colour scheme. So I found a colour scheme and tried to stick to it as best as possible. So it had this kind of dark greeny blue, the aqua colours, an orange, a red and a pink. Now the red that I used ended up looking more like pink, so I've kind of got two pinks, but I think it kind of worked. I have a piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock which I've cut down with a stitched slimline die, and I'm bringing out the Clouds for Days stencil. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to mask off the stitching detail around the edge of my card and mask off a bottom portion as well. So the bottom piece is going to kind of be like my grass section, and then the top is going to be the sky, but I wanted to mask off all of the stitching detail so that I get a nice white border all the way around when I lift that mask up. So just using some low tack tape to do this. This is purple tape that I've got sitting on my desk, but you could use washi tape or whatever you've got to hand. And once I've done that, I will bring out my stencil. Now my stencil isn't quite long enough to go all the way to the edge, so I'm kind of going to twist and turn it a little bit so that I can cover the whole area. I am using my new Saltwater Taffy Distress Oxide ink. This is the first time I've used this colour. It's really, really pretty, but I thought it worked quite well with the kind of rosy pinks that I've got from my colour scheme. So this was kind of a fun way to colour in today, because I don't know about you, but sometimes I really struggle figuring out colours and colour schemes. So if you have Pinterest or even just a search on the internet, you can find loads of different colour schemes that you can use. Try and find one that you like, that you think will work with your images. I wanted to go for kind of like a romantic vintagey look with my teapots and teacups today, and I thought this colour scheme worked quite nicely. And I'm trying to be quite strict about it and making sure that everything that I colour, including the background, kind of fits with the colour scheme that I've chosen. So hence the reason I'm doing a pink sky. And you would probably imagine that the colour that I use for the ground would be better for the sky, but actually I kind of wanted it this way around. So I'm using the Saltwater Taffy for my cloudy sky, and I'm going to be using Salvaged Patina for my ground. So just using my stencil, you can see I'm kind of twisting and turning it, doing one edge and then the other, turning my stencil around so that I use all the different edges and get different cloud shapes as I go around. And once I'm happy with it all, I will just add a little bit of colour directly to the bottom of the panel, just above that tape line. So I've just put that tape down there to be my kind of ground, as I say. I didn't want to use, I do have a grassy stencil, but I decided just to keep it flat. And so once I lift that up, which you'll see here after I have done some splattering, so I managed to lay my ink down without getting it all over my card panel this time, which is a bonus. And I'm just going to splatter on with this same colour, the Saltwater Taffy, all over to create a little bit of interest in my background as well. To be honest, I've got quite a few images, so most of my background is going to be covered up. It's just a little bit there to add, as I say, just add a little bit of interest and texture to that background. So going quite splat happy with that. I have gone ahead and heated it with my heat tool so that it dried off. I didn't want to wait around forever. I'm a bit lazy with that sort of thing. And then I'm lifting up all of my masks and I'm going to replace them. So I'm going to again mask off those pieces around the side, mask off the top part now so that I've got that little bit of white showing at the bottom, and mask the sides as well, so I keep that nice white edge all the way around, and then just laying that large piece over the bottom for my ground. So here's that Salvaged Patina. It's kind of a aqua-y blue colour, and I just thought that it would work okay as my grass, as my ground. I could of course done the colours around the other way and had the bluish colour at the sky and the pink at the ground. I just decided to do it this way. I don't really know why. I just thought it was kind of fun. So I'm going to just do the same thing. I'm going fairly lightly with that colour. And then I'm going to bring out an old paper towel here and just cover up the top part so that I can splatter the bottom and make sure that nothing kind of gets on that top part. So just doing exactly the same technique, laying my ink down, squirting it with some water, picking it up with a paintbrush and tapping it all over to create those cute little dots and texture that you get from doing this, which I think look really, really cool. Once that is done, I did go ahead and blast it again with my heat tool because, as I say, I don't want to wait forever for it to dry. And now I'm lifting up the tape so that you can see my finished panel, and there it is, ready to go. So now I'm just going to lay all my images out and try and figure out where I'm going to put everything. I was debating which kind of order to put things in. I decided to have that kind of darker teapot right in the middle and then the two other pieces around the edge. And then I was debating about where to put that little stone path. In the end, I moved it and put it underneath the orange teapot. I've got my little critters there, a little hedgehog and a little snail. And I've got a few bees and a butterfly and a few little flowers that I can scatter around as well. It took me a while to figure out where I wanted to put everything. I wasn't sure whether to put my flowers on top of the teapots or whether put them in the grass. So I tried out both ways, had a look, then played around a little bit more, ended up putting them down in the grass and figuring that I liked it best with the little flowers in the ground area. So that's what I ended up doing. But yeah, as I say, it took me a while to figure out where I wanted to put everything. I just wanted to kind of play around and see how I liked the look of things. So once I was pretty much happy, which, as I say, takes a while, I ended up sticking everything down with my liquid glue. So you can see I'm still fiddling around, still deciding. The great thing about laying everything down first and not sticking anything permanently is that you have got time to play around and decide what you think looks best. So once I'm happy, I'm going ahead and attaching this little stone path to the bottom of that orange teapot house. And then I will lay that one in first. So I'm going to put the two large images on either side first and then my large image in the middle. That way I can figure out the spacing and make sure that everything has enough room. I'm going to put the two images to the left and right towards the edge, right beside that kind of stitching detail, so that I use up pretty much the entire card panel for this little scene. And I just think it's really, really cute. I love these kind of whimsical little images. I think they're absolutely gorgeous, and I think Julianne, who has designed these, she's the owner and the lady responsible for all the wonderful images on Pour Some Stamps, has done an amazing job with these. I think they're just absolutely beautiful. So as I say, sticking those two down on either side, then I'll go in with my big teapot in the middle, and I'm kind of just figuring out that I've got plenty of room for that and where exactly I need to put it in relation to the others. So I'm going to have it quite low down on the card because it's quite tall, this one, and it reaches nearly to the top of my card panel. Once those larger images are in place, I can start popping down all the other little pieces. So my little snail here, he's going to be on to the right-hand side, and he looks like he's slithering across towards the right to meet his little friend, the hedgehog, who is facing the other way. I just think these are so cute, so much fun. And as you can see, I've not used kind of browns for my snail and my hedgehog. I wanted to stick with my colour theme, which did have a little bit of a yellow in there as well. I'm going to try and pop a photo in here of perhaps up in the corner of this colour scheme that I used. And you will see that the colours that I have used are a bit darker and not quite so bright. But I kind of went as close as possible to what was in the colour scheme and tried to match everything to that colour scheme so that I didn't have any kind of anomalies, nothing that looked completely different. And I think, as I say, a colour scheme is a great way to help you when you're colouring something in, to make everything look cohesive and make it look like it all works together. So my last little images are the bees and the little butterfly, and then I have this sentiment which comes from the stamp set which says, "Let's catch up and have a cup." And I just coloured that in. I've kind of fussy cut it out so it looks like it's die cut, and I've coloured it in with R00 marker, so a very pale pink marker, and it kind of almost blends in to the sky in the background, and I just kind of like the way that that looked. And now just adding my little bees and butterfly with some liquid glue, and that is pretty much my card front done. So you can see it there in a bit more detail, just making sure everything is nice and secured down, pressing it down carefully to make sure it's all in the right place. And I've just pulled out an N0 marker here just to add a little bit of shading underneath my images. Now, you don't notice this a huge amount, but it just adds a bit of a pop, makes it look like they're casting a bit of a shadow on the ground, and almost kind of makes them stand out a little bit more as well. But this is just an added extra. You really don't need to do that added step. And that's it. My card front is done. I'm taking a slimline card base, which measures 3.5 inches wide by 8 inches long, or 8.5 inches long. And I'm just going to pop that panel directly onto the front. I haven't stamped anything inside. I'm going to leave this one blank so that it can be used for just about any occasion, and I can always stamp something on the inside if I need to. But just popping that down with some liquid glue. It's a nice flat card, but really pretty. I love this little scene. I hope you enjoyed this one today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the Pawsome Stamps channel. We'd love to see you come back. And please check out these other videos you may enjoy. Take care.